What were your first impressions of me?
Do you ever see Jack Grealish, the movie?
I have to cut some bits out.
Go on, far away, and that's whatever you do.
You don't Google yourself?
Nah.
How does Jack Grealish style his hair? Would you say you've got the biggest calves in football?
Oh, what?
Is there anything that you've seen Jack do that you think general public doesn't know about that?
Keep it PG as well. My family have always been there for me. The way my mum and dad are, you know, they just would have done whatever I wanted to do, you know, for me to be happy. Luckily for me, I'd always just had a ball at my feet. My mum would always be, you know, going mad because I'd always be smashing stuff in the house. You know, like when you were young, you'd go for an away game when you were like under 8s or under 9s. It would just be me and my dad driving, and he'd come to everywhere, honestly. I set our relationship up really for the rest of my life, and that's why I'm so close with my dad now.
I would say he was about 5 then, 4.5, 5, and he was playing with like 6, 7-year-olds.
For me, this kid's the most talented player we've seen since Gaza.
Next minute, Aston Villa picked him up, and the rest is history, as they say.
My dream was always to play for Aston Villa. Once I played for Aston Villa, it was, you know, to become Villa captain. I became Villa captain. Then it was to play for England. I played for England. Then it was to obviously play in a major tournament, and I played at the Euros.
But being such a cult figure, especially for your boyhood club, came at a cost. Grealish was always used to drawing fouls, being jeered by rival fans, but when Aston Villa played Birmingham City in the second City derby, the situation span out of control.
You got attacked by a fan during a football match. There are a lot of people who I think...
Words just absolutely fail me.
It might have done all kinds of things to them psychologically.
What an absolute disgrace.
My mum was a bit upset, thinking like what the guy could have had on him or whatever.
You scored the winning goal after that.
Yes, there it is!
I just was thinking in my head, just please, you've got to score the winner.
Sweet, sweet moment for Jack Grealish.
Best day of my life.
Winner, chicken dinner.
But for Jack Grealish, he was now left with a lose-lose situation he couldn't win. Stay with the boyhood club he loves and go down in history as a legend, or move to a team where he could win the biggest prize in football and make the most of his career.
Because he's 24 now. I thought we'd be seeing this Jack Grealish at 21, but he showed his loyalty to Villa and he's brought him back up. The only question for me of whether he becomes as good as I think he will become, he will have to make that step to come to a top club at some point, is whether he's got the mentality to do all that on the big stage. I believe he has.
How are Aston Villa feeling about this? What is their position on their star Jack Grealish?
Well, quite simply, Pete, they don't want to sell him. Does he want to move to the Etihad and the chance of winning trophies, or the club that he's grown up with as a child, that he's very much the leader of, the talisman of, that he's loved? He's an Aston Villa fan as well. Does he see his future staying there? That would make him the most expensive Premier League transfer ever. He's that enigma, he's that unique quality, he has that X factor, which you can't describe, you can't explain it.
Ultimately, Grealish chose to prioritise his career, to scratch the itch and see how far he could go in football. But with new heights came new challenges.
With Pep, his ideas and what he wants you to do, it takes a while for it to bed in. Do you think there's any truth in that?
Whereas, for example, for me before Villa, Dean Smith would be like, right, go and do whatever you want. Listen, I've had grillings off Pep.
Was that tough, the adaptation then?
Yeah, no, it was, because I've just been at Villa my whole life, and you know, the team had been like really built around me.
Jack has changed as a player, he's adapted.
What clicked for you last season then, do you think?
I'm a big confidence player, you know, when I feel loved. The manager was picking me, you know, in big games. I felt the love off him just because he was playing me.
How has Pep Guardiola helped Jack Grealish?
It's just made me see the game different.
Like you say, if you're playing every game, that's the clearest message a manager can send to a player, isn't it? That you are a big part of what we're doing.
Don't really, if you're not playing, do you know what I mean? What good is him like coming out and just backing you? I knew every week that I was going to play.
And play he did, helping City win the Premier League, FA Cup and Champions League. All that a player could dream of in a career, let alone one season. And once the Champions League win had sealed a historic treble, the emotion came pouring out.
To win the treble, you know, with this group of players and this staff, I swear it's so special, man. And just, I don't know, this is just anyone that knows me knows, like, you know, how much like of a family person I am and how much I love football and stuff. And this will just, I don't know, this is what I just worked for my whole life.
You know what? We're in the same hotel as your family. I saw your dad at breakfast today and asked him how he was feeling, and he said, I can't even tell you how I'm feeling. And it's moments like this where you think about the people that have driven you to matches year after year, season after season.
It is, and you think about, you know, to all the people that have helped you along the way and stuff, and, you know, just seeing my family there in the crowd, man, just, I don't know, it makes me emotional.
For Grealish, Family is everything, but between the fond memories of growing up with love, there are some sad memories too.
Yeah, it was a nice day because my little brother passed away 25 years ago today, so it's, this day is always like, I don't know, it's hard in the family, but I was happy to score. I've been so fortunate and so blessed, to have such supportive family and such a good upbringing. I never really wanted it to end, if I'm honest.
Has bullying ever happened to you? And if you're being bullied, how would you handle it?
If I don't have a good game, I get a lot of stick on social media. So it's difficult, it is difficult, I'm not going to lie. And I try not to read it as much as I can.
I think 3 or 4 games, so I've not started in the Premier League since before Christmas. But yeah, obviously I was happy that I started tonight and happy to score.
But people were talking about Jack Grealish's lifestyle was perhaps something that wasn't liked. What is Jack Grealish's lifestyle? Jack has changed as a player, he's adapted.
We've never nurtured these types of players. We've never valued what they do.
Football comes at you fast, and a dip in form cost Grealish his place in Pep Guardiola's ruthless Man City side, where new talent is always knocking at the door.
Do you regret going to City and leaving Villa?
No, not at all, because listen, I went there to go and play with the best players in the world and to go and win trophies, and I loved Aston Villa. I love the club, and I've been a Villa fan my whole life, but when you're in my position, you want to win trophies. And
Not fans are they boo him now. Got 100 million for him, kept him up. What are you booing him for?
One of the questions we had was, does Jack Grealish still support Aston Villa?
You're a City fan now then?
Second, yeah.
They're like family to me.
Love that.
So I always, want them to do well for them, and obviously for the fans and the club itself as well.
Love it.
Where we are now is the pitch that I used to play on when I was a young child. I'd never thought, truthfully, I'd be where I am now, and that's why sometimes it's so nice coming back to places like this, just to reflect on how far I've come. My dad always put his arm around me, and I think that's the way I've grown up to the player that I am today. I feel like I play better when I have a manager, putting his arm around me.
You're right. Someone want to go and goal? I'll take a penalty. Yeah. Feel under pressure here. He's ready, yeah?
Having achieved everything a footballer and football fan could ever dream of, the only question that remains is what's next? Is there more to chase professionally? Will home come calling? Maybe the desire is for Jack to feel like he can just be Jack.
I don't see Jack Grealish potentially stepping out and behaving in a fashion which is not appropriate. I mean, we've seen him a couple of times this season. Early on in the season where he staggered out of some bar in Newcastle, wasn't it, or somewhere or another. And of course, because he's a £100 million transfer, because there's a fascination with Jack Grealish, because there's a legacy in the past where Jack was seen to be a bit of a lad, it carries with him throughout his entire career. So it doesn't matter what he does now, it doesn't matter how he conducts his life, there'll always be that question thrown up in the air, which I think is slightly unfair.
I wonder what Kevin's thinking at the moment.
I love growing up in Solihull. Even now I'm 27, and I don't know, I just don't want to get too old too quick,
Do I think he's reached the end of the road with Man City? Probably. The question is, what happens next?
Yeah.
And where does he go?
If you ask Jack Grealish when he was 19 years old, you're going to be 29, you're going to have won 8 trophies, you're going to have won the treble, you're going to have won the Champions League. Sometimes it's your time to move on. And he's 30 this year. I want to see him, last part of his career, go and enjoy. I want to see a Jack Grealish from Aston Villa where he gets on the ball, he makes things happen. He hasn't got the pressure of a manager who wants robots.
I've done loads of mad stuff like swimming with pigs and that.
Swimming with pigs?
Yeah, where you go to it's like the Pig Island.
Okay.
Or something. So yeah, they're quite vicious actually.